So Pan goes on to stealth her way through the building to find Goku and Trunks, Metal Gear Solid style, and while looking for them, she ends up in a ceremony full of robots and sees Giru getting congratulated and awarded a Medal of Honor for capturing Trunks and Goku and the 3 Dragon Balls they had. As a reward for his loyalty, Giru receives a bunch of food and surprisingly doesn't want anything else. However, a robot FaceTimes General Dildo to show him Goku's power levels, and...
It's over 9,000!
Sorry, I had to do it. The General realizes that Goku would literally mop the floor with his M2 commandos, so he decides to kill them while they're still asleep, while they still have them captured. Meanwhile, Pan is trying to search around the facility with her robot disguise, but ends up getting caught because she can't phase through a wall like the other robots and gets thrown in the dump with all the defective ones. However, one of the defective robots wakes up and gives Pan some more context and tells her where Goku and Trunks are being held. Just then, the dump starts crushing all the rejects, but Pan manages to escape using her Kamehameha and takes all the other defective robots with her. The General sees all of this on his cameras and immediately tells the Mega Cannon Sigma boys to handle it. The Mega Cannon Sigma boys prepare for the mission, but for some reason, Nut, the green one, really has something against 10-year-olds and wants to defeat Pan by himself. The other robots agree because of plot, and Pan has a short battle where she uses girl power to kill Nut. Okay. The rest of the Transformers are watching the video from Gil's camera lens back when they were getting the Dragon Balls and marveled at how impressive Giru's line was. However, Goku wakes up and hears that and angrily says that Giru wasn't lying, so the Sigma boys electrocute him. But just then, Pan breaks through the wall and prepares to fight, but unfortunately, she just gets bitch slapped. Again! Man, I'm gonna have to start putting up a counter for all the bitch slaps in this series. Goku's obviously very angry at his granddaughter getting disrespected, so he finally decides to actually do something about it and breaks out of his restraints and powers up. Goku tells Trunks to help get Pan to the spaceship and let him handle this alone, since we all know that both of them are effectively useless. So Goku brings the fight outside with the red guys prepare to fight, and the purple robot just stands there and watches because of plot. Anyway, Goku ends up doing his 4-piece combo, which all end up missing, and the robot seems to be able to easily avoid Goku's attacks by scanning him or something, and then counter him just as easily. Goku asks him how, and they're like, "We did research on your body and shit." So Goku's like, "Okay," and then they continue to fight. Man, the depth of the storytelling is just immaculate. The robots gang up on Goku and start phasing through walls and begin to fuck him up, so Goku resorts to the old trusty tactic of throwing out everything you have and hoping for the best. Unsurprisingly, it actually works really well, and since the Transformers are obviously completely unable to grasp the concept of Goku's genius strategy, they now have to rely on their last resort. Yep, they end up going the Power Rangers route and combine. But even though the Transformer is significantly stronger than he once was, Goku is still way faster and manages to knock him down. However, the robot reveals that he can fly and is now easily able to keep up with Goku, but regardless, Goku manages to completely overpower them and then destroy them without even having to go Super Saiyan. Meanwhile, back on the ship, Pan is trying to convince Trunks to let her come and help Goku to get the Dragon Balls back, but Trunks tells Pan not to come because she would hold them all back because of how useless she is. Which, I mean, we all already knew, but it's kind of surprising to hear from Trunks, since he was the one that tried to cheer her up when she was having her useless arc just 3 episodes ago. But, again, I digress. Meanwhile, General Dildo gets angry that he now has to actually do something instead of just sit in a chair, and realizes that he has to join the fight too. Goku ends up getting back to the ship first, but Dildo quickly arrives, and Goku says,
"He's powerful, even more powerful than Majin Buu."
Wait, really? So I guess Pan and Trunks are effectively useless against him, right? Oh, never mind. However, turns out, Dildo was just faking it, because he wanted to, I guess, and he reveals that machines are the superior race or whatever, before launching a mouth beam at Pan. Trunks, realizing that he's just as useless as Pan, jumps in front of it, and gets turned into a metal frame thingy. Pan tries to touch him to see if he's okay, but he just vanishes out of thin air, so Pan tries to punch Dildo, but Dildo just gives her a signature bitch slap and sends her away. He then reveals that he teleported Trunks directly to Dr. Mu, which is just a thing he can do, I guess, and then tells them exactly where they are and just lets Pan go off to find them, because he's a fucking dumbass. General phallic-shaped item reveals that he has the Bura spit ability, but for metal, and Goku accidentally gets their spaceship metalized, I guess. Back to Pan, she almost gets his Trunks, but gets teleported outside before she can get close. Turns out, the reason the general told Pan where to get Trunks is because of their forcible removal system, which just teleports people outside and makes it pretty difficult for Pan to find Trunks. Meanwhile, Dildo and Goku fight for a bit until Goku resorts to his signature magical blue beam, which looks like it hit him dead on, but turns out he dodged it because the writer said so. Idiot! Anyway, we see that the Mega Cannon Sigma boys are still alive on the ground, so Dildo floats to the ground and make Goku follow him, but as soon as he does, the Sigma boys instantly grab Goku and hold him down in order to let General Bedroom Toy finish him off. However, Goku finally remembers that he can go Super Saiyan, and I'm pretty sure you can figure out what happens next. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, Dildo transforms by making a tornado and merging with the rest of the Mega Cannon Sigma boys. R.I.P. Mega Cannon Sigma boys.
It's been a long day without you, my friend.
And turns into this weird masked drill man thing who's called Hyper Mega Rild, which honestly is as ugly as it sounds. Cut to the next episode and a barely visible fight ensues where Dildo tries to become a drill just like the M2 Commandos did, but way bigger and stronger. However, Goku manages to overpower Hyper Mega Sex Toy by spamming a bunch of energy blast at him, and then floats down to Dildo and says, which admittedly is a pretty hard line. Dildo uses his metal powers to transform into something that looks way more menacing, and then makes a giant tsunami made out of metal, and then reveals that since the planet they're on is made completely out of metal, he's basically able to bend the entire planet to his will, which he uses to bend the land around Goku to attack him. Meanwhile, Pan finally finds Gil, again, but Gil just runs away as soon as he sees her, and honestly, judging by how Pan treats him in this series, I'd be running away too. Pan follows him believing that he's taken her to Dr. Mu, but he leads her to a room filled with robots pointing guns at her, but right before she can blow them all up, Giru hits the button to teleport her outside, and surprisingly, a Dragon Ball just so happens to be there. I wonder why? Back to the fight though, General Pleasure Stick begins to use the surroundings to his advantage to attack Goku and dodges his attacks easily, which by the way is the best fight so far, not that that's saying much. And Goku finally realizes fighting in an open space may not be the best idea against someone who can control the entire planet they're on. So, he decides to hide in a movie theater and try to sneak attack Dildo in order to gain an advantage, which works a little bit, until it doesn't, and General Sex Toy forces Goku to escape outside again. Suddenly, Pan shows up with the Dragon Ball for some reason, so Dildo takes his chance and races off to go use Pan as a hostage, and in one beautifully executed, fell swoop, he manages to turn both Goku and Pan into metal frames like he did to Trunks, and successfully transports them back to Dr. Mu. Wow, wasn't expecting that. Back to Dr. Mu's evil lair, he prepares to do his final research on Goku and Trunks, which is basically a buzzsaw preparing to cut him in half. Giru shows up out of nowhere, and since Dr. Mu is a little too happy that his plan actually worked, he starts to brag and congratulate Giru by letting him watch the experiment he helped create. However, super unsurprisingly, Giru just walks straight over to the machine, knocks away the robot using it, turns it off to save Goku, and then shoots a missile directly at Dr. Mu, which is also something I never knew he could do. However, Dr. Mu, still unable to grasp the concept of betrayal, just stands in awe as Giru uses the main control key, which is just a magic plot device, to turn both Goku and Pan back to normal. However, while Pan starts to chastise Giru and goes back to abusing him for saving their lives, Dr. Gero grabs Trunks and takes him hostage and says he will drop him if they get any closer. Wait, isn't Trunks made out of metal? Why would dropping him break him? I don't think he gets how hostages work, since either of them can just run up to him and take it. But whatever. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, because I'm trying not to focus on the completely awful proportions of Trunks. Like, why is he shorter than Dr. Mu? Anyway, Gil manages to distract the guys holding weapons that are completely ineffective to Pan and Goku, while Pan literally just runs up to him and snatches it from his hand, like they should have done from the beginning of this conversation. However, a robot is slick enough to steal it back from her and then tosses it to another robot, forcing Pan to chase them and create a super not fun or entertaining to watch game of monkey in the middle. And what is Goku doing this whole time? Standing there, doing nothing but commenting on the situation. Good parenting, Goku. Eventually, the robots end up dropping Trunks, which makes him shatter even though I'm pretty sure he's made out of metal, and Pan begins to cry as she believes Trunks is now dead. Also, Goku looks slightly sad, which makes no sense since he literally just watched all of this happen. Dr. Mu starts to panic because his leverage is gone, but before Goku and Pan can get their get back for murdering their friend, someone calls out to them, and Trunks begins to stroll down the stairwell like nothing happened.
Okay, but why though?
And honestly, my first reaction was shock because there was literally no hints or foreshadowing to explain this, but rewatching this, I'm actually more mad at the fact that he decided to take the stairs. I mean, you can literally fly. Why do you have to take the long way? Anyway, turns out, Gil and Trunks were in on it together and planned this all off screen. So basically, Gil saved Trunks off screen and then made a metal slab imitation that is an exact replica and replaced it with the original. Oh, and Gil also gathered all the Dragon Balls too because he's the best robot ever and no one should ever question his methods. Dr. Mu shoots a missile at them and does his absolute best to dip the fuck out, but unfortunately, Trunks remembers he can fly and stops Dr. Mu from escaping. Trunks says that the place Dr. Mu is going is a secret room, and the whole reason him and Gil created this plan was to investigate that room. I mean, I'm pretty sure he could have just pressed the button to open it regardless, but maybe I'm just stupid or something. Dr. Mu obviously doesn't have a choice anymore and is forced to lead them inside, where we see a weird fetus looking thing floating in green water. And by the way, can I just ask, why is it always a baby? They walk towards it, and Dr. Mu starts crying because he thinks that the fetus is some sort of holy being that shouldn't be seen unless your eyes have been cleansed or something, and apologizes for humiliating it. Bro, you realize that's a fetus, right? Trunks gives us some much needed context and explains that this is a machine mutant that's completely different from all the others and holds an incredible power. And Trunks says if it was to develop all the way into its perfect form, it would be stronger than anything else in this world, which I guess means that it's perfect cell. Dr. Mu tries to release the fetus, but Trunks managed to tamper with the controls before they came in and pretty much brags that he saved the whole galaxy. Okay, whatever you say, bro. As he explains everything, Goku gets bored and starts climbing on the tank, and after Dr. Mu says, the fetus's eyes flash open, and he immediately starts growing into this human type thing with purple eyes and blows himself up in a giant beam of light, because Dragon Ball thinks it's really cool when characters do that. So they do it all the time. Like, it happens every time.
He's pulling his cock out!
After showing off how big his dick is by shouting really loud and making his energy look big, he mutters the word but before he can continue, Goku, Pan, and Trunks Kamehameha tag team combo the fuck out of him and blow him up to bits. Womp womp womp, game over. However, a piece of baby latches onto Dr. Mu, and for some reason, and I can't stress this enough, the gang literally just watch him slowly walk to his ship and leave. Because of plot.
So that was a fucking lie.
Pan tries to go after them, which is a little too late to decide to do now, but Goku stops her and Trunks says,
So that was a fucking lie.
Back on Dr. Mu's ship, Baby separates himself from Dr. Mu and reveals that Dr. Mu is a machine mutant that he programmed in order to gather energy for his resurrection, because that's pretty much the only way Toei Animation knows how to make plot twists. Also, if he was the one that programmed Dr. Mu, that means that Baby created Dr. Mu, who sent that guy, who sent that guy, who sent that guy, who sent that guy in order to kill these guys. Baby then proceeds to straight up murk Dr. Mu for no reason other than the fact that he's kind of annoying, and since he'll kill all the Saiyans before they even leave the planet.
So that was a fucking lie.
So the gang get in the ship and prepare to dip, but Dildo shows up and tries to keep them from leaving, but fortunately, it's nothing a Kamehameha can't fix, and they quickly leave the planet with little to no resistance. The gang moves on and finds out that the next Dragon Ball is on a giant ship that will be sucked into the nearest star in the next 10 minutes, so they put on their spacesuits and go and try and find it. They find it almost immediately, but turns out there's a giant robot on the ship so Pan one-shots it, and then they continue to search until they find a green kid with green hair that's hurt. They decide to help him, escape off the ship using the fix-all Kamehameha to boost him back, and then quickly take the kid to a planet that is literally just a hospital in order to treat him. However, right before the end of the episode, the hospital room the kid is in blows up. Oh, and in case you're wondering, they spent a whole lot longer than 10 minutes on the ship, and I basically summed up the entire episode in 4 sentences. Goku goes straight in the fire and saves the kid. They all give the kid a little space, and Goku reveals that he's scared of needles, and not giant drills for some reason, while Baby laughs to himself and says that they are completely unaware that he's taken over this kid's body.
Roger that.
Pause, sir.
Over now.
Pause, sir. 10-4.
Baby gets Pan alone in the forest and begins to talk with her a bit, but right before he can take his chance to sneak up on Pan and try to absorb her energy, Goku and Trunks show up, meaning Baby can't go through with his plan and is forced to pretend like a kid again. The doctor also shows up and says he needs to take the kid back, so while Goku and the gang aren't looking, he takes over the doctor's body and gives the kid back to the nurses and goes back to trying to kill the Saiyans. Cut to a little bit later, and Goku and the gang are eating in the hospital when Baby, who's disguised as the doctor, asks Trunks if he wants a tour of the hospital. Trunks agrees, and while Trunks is distracted by the amazing technology, he sneaks up on him and begins to just straight up strangle him, and then after giving an unnecessary amount of exposition of how he's not actually a little green kid who's their friend, he tries to absorb him, but Trunks just says, and Goku suddenly shows up out of nowhere to save him. Again, there was absolutely no foreshadowing or hints that Goku knew this was gonna happen. Baby asks how Goku knew, and Goku says that he never forgets the ki of someone he fights. So, long story short, before they prepare to kill him, Pan asks what the story with the Dragon Ball he used to set up the trap for them was about, and Baby explains that the Dragon Ball was actually hidden inside of Dr. Mu's body as data, which for some reason means the Dragon Ball radar can't sense it. I stopped trying to understand how this show worked a long time ago. Baby attacks, but is quickly overpowered by Goku's gang, and if you're wondering why I'm not showing you the fight, it's because it's not even a fight. They all just take a turn hitting Baby and then stand over him. But after screaming really loudly and showing off his dick again, which is apparently a move, Trunks gets cut as a result of being sent flying by the explosion, and Baby resorts to trying to possess Trunks by sliding into his cut, which, if you look back at the doctor, he probably didn't need to do. However, fortunately for Trunks, he has the cells of Vegeta in him, which allows him to break free of the mind control and separate his body from Baby. Baby finally realizes that he's completely outmatched, and then uses the most overpowered move in Dragon Ball, the Solar Flare, and escapes.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
The gang goes back to the Dragon Ball quest and talk about how weird Baby was, and smash cut to Baby, and we find out that he's taken over a bunch of people on a traveling spaceship and says that the next time they meet will be the end for them.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
So back on Earth, Chichi's at Capsule Corp with Goten, having a nice cup of tea with Bulma, while Goten's hitting on girls the whole time because that's apparently his character now. Also, Vegeta shaves his mustache, and I don't know if it's just me, but wouldn't a mustache on Super Saiyan 4 look awesome? No? Just me? Never mind. After a cute Vegeta moment where he tries to show off that he shaves his mustache and gets shy, we learn that Vegeta cuts off his mustache because Bulma told him it didn't suit him, which admittedly is a nice way to show Vegeta's character development. Chi-Chi starts to get worried about Pan, but Bulma says she'll probably be fine since she has Goku with her. Yeah, she's totally fine. In all seriousness though, we learn that Goku and the gang managed to find another Dragon Ball, but back on Earth though, some blonde android looking dude is causing explosions in the middle of the city, which I guess is Baby, since he's interrogating bank robbers to find out where the Saiyans are. Meanwhile, Goten and some hot chick are on a date together, and when they suddenly hear the explosion that Baby caused, the hot chick asks if there's a festival, but Goten, who literally can't be bothered, just tells her to keep eating her food. Back at the explosion, the only good character, Hercule's voice can be heard. And steps out himself in order to deal with the threat. However, unfortunately, he sprains his ankle while trying to land off a 50-foot building, which is as smart of an idea as you think it is. But before he can get revealed as the weakling he is, he says that the enemy hit him faster than the human eye can see, and honestly, knowing how ridiculous Dragon Ball feats are, that's kind of believable. Baby then asks if Hercule is a Saiyan, but Hercule just says, so Baby figures that he's not and tries to kill him anyway, which, I mean, what was the point of even asking then? However, unfortunately for Baby, Hercule has Ultra Instinct and is able to dodge it, and Baby, who doesn't want to be bothered, just tells Hercule to get lost. Fortunately for Hercule's ego though, Goten shows up, so Hercule pulls the classic move of you must fight the student before the teacher. Goten says he can't because he's on a date, but when he tries to find her, he sees her talking to the blonde guy and immediately drop kicks him out of pure spite. Honestly, understandable. Goten asks if the girl is alright, and she says he was asking about Saiyans, so she figured he wanted vegetables and tried to tell him where the nearest grocery store is. Which is pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. All of a sudden, a random guy in the crowd with green hair sneaks out and now has red eyes, which, as you guessed it, means he's also possessed by Baby.
Bitch on him, baby.
Little Baby tries to sneak Goten, but Goten's too quick with it, but another guy pops out ready to attack Goten's girl too. So Goten throws her in the air, knocks out both of them, and catches the girl. Goten then proceeds to give them the same treatment the Scooby-Doo villains get, and the police arrive to arrest everybody, while Hercule takes full credit. As usual. Everything seems fine as Goten's leaving, but he suddenly notices another one of Baby's victims and turns around to talk to him, but Baby sneaks him before he can even get 2 words out of his mouth. Baby then reveals himself and is like, I know you're a Saiyan, bitch. So Goten is like, who is you? Baby says he realized that Goten has the same key as Goku and the others, so Goten asks if Baby knows Goku, and by asking that, Baby realizes that Goten is Goku's son. Which, I mean, I don't really understand how that follows, but I guess, yeah. He straight up tells Goten that he's gonna take his body and use his power to kill his father, pretty much just to say that there's nothing Goten can do about it. Goten tells the girl to run away, but Baby quickly turns the place into a massive crater that probably should have killed Hercule and Goten's girl. But one phone call later, and we find out that they both survived somehow. Don't ask. Anyway, Goten does the same trick he did earlier, but with the phone instead of the girl, quickly knocks down Baby into a crater and catches the phone behind his back, which admittedly is kind of cool, but is also incredibly corny. Baby eventually manages to sneak Goten with an energy blast that cuts him while he's distracted on the phone, so Goten finally resorts to going Super Saiyan and starts spamming Ki Blast at Baby until he dies. And I mean, damn! Bro does not give a single fuck about property destruction. Anyway, it obviously didn't work, so Baby taunts Goten into shooting Kamehameha at him and just kinda eats the blast until he decides to turn into his goop form and slide into the cut that he made earlier. I mean, first of all, disgusting! And second of all, he can possess someone by just cutting them once? That's kinda OP. Well, unless you have the Vegeta bloodline plot armor, but yeah, still broken. Anyway, Goten now has emo eyeliner to indicate that he's Baby now, and after making another pointless explosion, he goes back to meet up with Goten's girl and Hercule. His girl walks over to him to bandage the cut on his arm, and asks to continue their date, like the sweet lady she is, but Baby is a Sigma male or whatever the kids are calling them these days, and throws it back in her face. Oh, and Hercule gets it even worse as Baby just grabs him and throws him on the ground, but we all expected that. As Baby Goten flies away, he then realizes that he needs to get the most powerful Saiyan on Earth, and says he needs Vegeta's body.
Pause.
Meanwhile, Team Goku is still trying to find the next Dragon Ball, which is inside of a giant fat dragon, so Goku ruthlessly pops a hole in them, and the dragon flies off balloon style and deflates. Again, jokes for 5-year-olds. They all have a party because they all have one ball left to gather, but Goku says he doesn't feel good about it and that he's still worried that Baby's after them. Meanwhile, Piccolo is under a waterfall and says he has a bad feeling because that was super important information for us to know. Back at Capsule Corp though, Chi-Chi says Goten should have been back from his date by now, but Bulma just chalks it up to young people being horny, which I guess is true. Chi-Chi doesn't buy it though, so when Bulma gets a call that there is someone at the entrance, Chi-Chi books it as fast as possible to see who it is. But unfortunately, to her and everybody else's disappointment, it's none other than my least favorite character, Gohan. Oh, and also Videl. I mean, she's cool. Gohan tells them that there was trouble in Hercule City and Goten was a part of it, and since Chi-Chi still can't help herself from worrying, She says she can't just stand around, and as if on cue, Baby Goten busts in and smacks Chi-Chi on the head with the door. Fortunately for Baby though, Chi-Chi still thinks it's Goten and runs up and hugs him, but Baby, who's never had a real mother before, doesn't understand and just shoves her away and tells her to leave him alone. They're a bit shocked, but accept it, until Goten rudely asks where Vegeta is, and... Damn! Okay, so the dub and sub is a bit different. In the sub, she tells Goten to address Vegeta properly as Vegeta-san, but in the dub, she's just mad at how rudely he asked, which I guess is pretty much the same thing, but I don't know. I'm not a Japanese. Baby starts to feel intimidated by Chi-Chi, which I mean, I don't blame him, and according to Goten's memory, which he apparently has also seen now, even though she has no power, she is greater than anyone. I mean, low-key kinda true, unless your name is Boo. Baby realizes that he should act according to the planet's customs until he can find Vegeta, and that's again where he is, but... Damn! Damn! He asks again, this time more politely, so Chi-Chi looks at Bulma for the answer, but Bulma just shrugs and says he's not here right now, and since he comes and goes as he pleases without telling anyone where he goes, she really has no idea when he'll be back. Baby figures he should move on to the next best target, Gohan, so instead of giving his brother a handshake, he gives him a fist bump to the face and asks why someone who is stronger than him wasn't able to dodge it, which is low-key kinda true. I just really hate Gohan. Chi-Chi gets mad and says they should handle this somewhere else, so Gohan asks if Goten wants to handle this outside, and Baby obviously agrees. They prepare to fight, and Baby, who's actually smart, goes Super Saiyan first and blasts the fuck out of Gohan. Unfortunately for him though, Gohan completely ate the attack, and Gohan has now realized that someone has taken over Goten's body since his ki's mixed in with someone else's, and not because Goten just tried to pull an insta-kill move off the bat, because that obviously makes a lot more sense. They proceed to fight, but unfortunately, the fight's pretty ass, and only lasts like 15 seconds. But to sum it up, Baby shoots an explosion on the ground as a distraction, Gohan throws Baby into the explosion, but Baby somehow teleports up and drags Gohan into the explosion. That's it. That's the entire fight. Well, I mean, Baby starts to blow himself up in order to damage Gohan, and Gohan goes Super Saiyan to stop him, but Baby then proceeds to immediately possess Gohan before he can even fight. So, yeah.
That's all, folks.
So now it's Gohan that has the emo eyeliner, and Piccolo shows up just in time. Not! Well, whatever. I'm sure he can do something against this Gohan, right? Yeah, he immediately got blown up. That's nice. Anyway, Baby now has the second strongest body on the planet, even though I thought it would have been Piccolo considering how little Gohan probably trained, and is now preparing to take the strongest, Vegeta. Cut to Vegeta, and he's on the way back from a shopping trip with Bulla, and considering how much stuff is in the back seat, it's pretty obvious that Vegeta's soft on her. Some random idiots show up and try to hit on Bulma, but before she can even respond, Vegeta bumps into them with her car, and then drives close to them and tears off the steering wheel with his bare hands, causing them to crash in the ocean. Honestly, justified. Back to Vegeta and Bulla though, Vegeta suddenly breaks the hardest I've ever seen anyone break ever, and looks up to see Baby Gohan standing on top of a windmill turbine. Without saying a word, Gohan teleports down, goes Super Saiyan, and prepares a Kamehameha, which does blow up the car, but not Vegeta, who easily dodged it and lands safely with Bulla in his arms. Bulla reveals the inner Bulma in her and starts going off on Baby, yelling at him for blowing up all her stuff and demanding a refund for all the damaged goods. Vegeta just grabs her and throws her back to the car and tells her to go home, to which Bulla only agrees to if Vegeta can get Gohan to pay them back for all the stuff he blew up. Yeah, she definitely has a lot of Bulma in her. Vegeta asks again who Gohan is, but Baby just says, Vegeta is still confused since blatant racism didn't really answer his question, so Baby says, Damn! You just gonna let him say that to you, Vegeta? Vegeta laughs and says he's starting to remember his wretched ki and calls him a superarian? I don't know, I'm just gonna call them Tuffles, like in the English dub. So Baby Gohan powers up and starts to fight, and I mean, he just starts violating Vegeta. Like, bro is really showing how much he genuinely hates him. Baby is impressed by his own power, but as he goes in to finish Vegeta off, Vegeta finally goes Super Saiyan, and after Vegeta straight up says that he doesn't mind obliterating Gohan's body and apologizing to Goku later, my goodness, this Vegeta's badass. They do a beam struggle to see whose phallic member is larger. Vegeta ends up winning, but before Vegeta can finish him off, Goten shows up and says he's on Vegeta's side, but when Vegeta tells him to back up, he does, and then immediately tries to sneak Vegeta. It doesn't work, but it does manage to leave a small scratch on Vegeta's face, which, as we all know, pretty much means it's over. Although, the title of the episode kinda gave it away more than the scratch. So Goten and Gohan do a combo attack making a red tornado for some reason, which Vegeta isn't able to beat without powering up Super Saiyan 2, but as soon as he does, Baby takes his chance and immediately possesses Vegeta. But wait, Vegeta's fought something like this before, right? Remember Majin Vegeta? And even Trunks was able to break out of the possession. Surely Vegeta can do it too, right?
Wrong.
Yeah, no. Anyway, Baby explains that he can only possess one body as the host and must lay eggs in any life form that he enters in order to make them his slave. Does that mean he impregnates you? Baby then laughs and says that the entire Earth, including all the Saiyans, will all be his slaves, and says since Goku had the balls to rebel against him, he'll kill him with his bare hands instead of possessing him.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Oh yeah, and also Goku and the gang found the last Dragon Ball and go back to Earth. They immediately go to Kami's lookout to see Dende and Popo, and Dende immediately says they should try to seal up the Dragon Balls as soon as possible. And for some reason, Goku agrees! What? It's not like y'all need them anymore, and aren't you supposed to use the Black Star Dragon Balls on the same planet it was first used in order to make sure the planet doesn't blow up? That's what King Kai said during the first episode. Pan is the only one to disagree for some reason, but it's not because the Earth will blow up if they don't use it, it's because she doesn't want her grandpa to be shorter than her. Goku still rejects, so Pan is forced to hand over the Dragon Balls to Dende and Popo, as Trunks says goodbye and prepares to go to Capsule Corporation with Giru, while Goku and Pan head back home. However, turns out, Dende and Popo are actually Baby in disguise, which actually makes sense for once, since Baby can see the memories of the people he lays eggs inside. Back at Hercule's house, there's a bunch of people rioting outside his crib because they want Hercule to save them, so Hercule hides inside of Boo to avoid them, which is definitely in character. Boo says he sees Goku and Pan coming back, so Hercule tells Boo to follow them in order to ask them for help. However, instead of flying over everyone, he just politely blows everyone away with his breath and runs past them for some reason. On the trip there, we learned that Baby already tried to lay eggs in Boo, but it didn't work on him and simply got absorbed just like Hercule did, and then spits out the eggs because it doesn't taste good. Meanwhile, Pan and Goku arrive home and surprise surprise, Chi-Chi and Videl are also Baby's minions. I mean, it takes forever for Goku and Pan to notice in typical Dragon Ball fashion, as Baby's minions ignore them, slap them, and put food in front of them only to tell them that it's for the other minions, who also happen to be their family. Looking back on it, I think this was their take on a horror moment in Dragon Ball, but Goku and Pan are way too stupid to understand anything, and this is the same show that just tried to show me a dragon deflating like a balloon as an integral part of the plot. Trunks ends up in the same situation, but with the original Vegeta, possessed by Baby, which also feels completely pointless, since Baby Vegeta kinda just breaks the act halfway and immediately transforms and tries to fight Trunks. Suddenly though, Gil shows up and shoots Vegeta with weapons that are equivalent to crumpled up paper balls, and instantly gets bodied. Baby calls Trunks his servant, but Trunks is like, never! But Baby's like, but you already are though. And he actually is, because he laid the cells back in the hospital planet. Anyway, Goku and Pan are forced to escape their own house as soon as they come back, but quickly get shot down by them, and since Pan's hurt, Goku comes face to face with Piccolo's son, and Goten. Goku says he doesn't remember raising Goten to be the kind of coward that attacks people from behind, even though I don't think he raised Goten at all. And Baby says that Goku is a barbaric monkey Saiyan.
That's racist!
However, Goku says the classic line, and then proceeds to absolutely beat the shit out of Goten and Gohan at the same time. Like, it's really not a difficult fight at all. Right before Goku can finish them off though, Hercule yells at him, which makes him stop the Kamehameha, and explains that every human on Earth is being controlled by Baby. Baby Vegeta finally heard his cue and comes out, and the first thing Hercule does is start talking shit.
Funny, huh? We used the same strategy. Except I didn't go inside of Majin Buu to lay eggs. I went inside of him to hide from you. How do you like them apples?
And this is why he's my favorite character. Baby is just confused on how Hercule still hasn't possessed yet, but Hercule just calls Baby a joke and tells Goku to take on the small fry and leave the big ones for the world champion. Baby actually believes him and immediately tries to kill him, but fortunately, Hercule is fast enough to outrun explosions, which gives Buu enough time to save him and fly away. Baby lets them escape and tells them all to focus on Goku, and then calls Bulla and Trunks to help him, which makes it a 5v1. Goku finally transforms into Super Saiyan 3, and then proceeds to attack Baby Vegeta, but surprise surprise, it doesn't look like it's working, and Goku loses his Super Saiyan form. He says his body is too weak and his older body would have been able to take it, but it's his fault for not using common sense and using the Black Star Dragon Balls to wish yourself back to normal. You fucking idiot! Vegeta tells him to die and blasts him some more, but Goku rises up again, although seeming significantly more weakened. Baby Vegeta continues beating him, and although there's absolutely no need to do this, he then calls all the other Saiyans to hold hands and play Ring Around the Rosie until Baby's form changes slightly, and then tells everyone on the entire planet to give him their negative energy, somehow creates a skin-tight bodysuit to accent his new form, and makes a giant revenge death ball, which I only know because of Xenoverse 2. Anyway, after Baby launches at him, it creates a massive explosion that's the exact same as every other explosion in Dragon Ball, and Goku is dead. Well, not really though. But for now, Pan, Hercule, Buu, and Baby all think that he's dead.
What, Goku?
No, it can't be.
So Baby is now the king of Earth, I guess, and uses the Black Star Dragon Ball to summon Red Palette Swap Shenron and wish for a planet exactly like Planet Tuffle. And what does he name this new planet?
Let it be known as the Tuffle Planet.
What was the point of naming it then? Meanwhile, Goku wakes up in a world that's all black and hears someone's voice who calls him a child. Turns out, it's some weird alien guy who says he's called...
Oi, why are you disrespecting me, bruv? My mistake, original gangster. No, this cannot be forgiven. Now empty the compartments of your pantaloons.
Sugoro explains that Goku technically isn't dead yet, and he's in a place called Sugoro Space, which is basically a board game world. Basically, they roll the dice, and whatever number they get is a number of steps they can advance, and whoever gets to the end first wins. It's essentially a game that's entirely based on luck, and if you lose, you die, but if you win, you're spared. However, Sugoro reveals that he won 32,974,572 times in a row, because of course he has. But that doesn't faze Goku, and he says he's ready to play. Before they start though, Sugoro lays down a couple ground rules. First off, you can't use ki, you can't fight at the end, and you can't destroy any spaces with power or ki or anything like that. Goku just says he wouldn't cheat anyway and they get started, but almost immediately, it becomes apparent that Sugoro is incredibly lucky, while Goku is incredibly unlucky. But just to sum up the next 2 episodes, turns out Sugoro was lying about being a gangster because he's actually a scammer who's using a green tanuki in order to win all 32,974,572 of his games, because he is actually a green tanuki and the dice he was throwing around was his own son. Wow, abuse and teaching your son how to cheat. Good parenting. After Goku calls him out, a bunch of random unexplained voices start getting mad that he cheated, which makes no sense because his son was literally the dice for the game. Like, did you guys not see him do that? And Goku escapes with the 2 tanukis as the world collapses. And after Goku uses his fix-all Kamehameha, Supreme Kai is able to sense him and teleports him and the green tanukis of the Kai Shin's planet. Now, you're probably thinking, how the hell did Supreme Kai know how to find Goku? Well, it's because Supreme Kai saved Goku from the explosion last minute, and the reason Goku ended up in Sugoro Space was because of the force of the explosion. Now, what was the point of creating Sugoro Space if Supreme Kai saved them anyway? Well, you're an ass for asking that, and you should probably just leave. Back on Earth, Baby Vegeta raises up a massive spaceship built by Capsule Corp underground and seems to be herding people in mass quantities on it in order to ship them to planet Tuffle. And after a cool shot of Baby Vegeta holding Bulma happens, Baby says, no way! Next he's gonna say East, and maybe West too! Like who cares? Back on Supreme Kai's planet, Elder Kai and Supreme Kai convince Goku to train a bit more before taking on Baby again, and gets Goku to grind some coffee for his training. However, even I am a little curious if it's actually supposed to be real training, since Elder Kai really cares about how good the coffee turns out. Meanwhile, Pan's plan to save everyone is to give them laxatives to make them poop out the eggs that are possessing everybody, but even Hercule realizes how stupid that is, and politely says that they should come up with a better strategy. However, Pan just says fuck it and goes through with her plan by throwing a bunch of pills inside people's mouths, but unfortunately, her possessed mother immediately puts a stop to that and smacks the pill that Pan tries to give her out of her hand. Gohan pops out, and after he confirms Pan's suspicions, he says,
Pause.
Baby shows up and says that a problem child like Pan should be killed, and Gohan and Videl instantly agree. So Gohan prepares to murder her, but before he can, Oob of all people shows up and saves her. And can I just say, Baby, you're shit at taking over planets. How many other people did you leave alive? Turns out, when Baby started taking over the planet on Earth, he took his siblings deep into the mountains to train to protect them. Pan tries to tell Oob that Goku is probably dead, and Baby explains that he personally vaporized him from the world with his own hands. But after he starts trash talking Goku some more, it successfully gets Oob pissed off. Back at the Kai's planet, Goku begs Elder Kai to send him back to Earth to go help them out, but Elder Kai says that Goku isn't strong enough to beat him yet, but there is one thing that they can do in order to defeat him. Well, then why did you start with that? However, before he tells Goku what it is, he warns him multiple times that it's something far harsher than training. Goku of course agrees with no hesitation, and the Elder Kai says,
You're gay! He's gay!
He straight up takes Goku's pants off and looks at his bum and mini tail.
Why don't you have a seat right over there?
And Elder Kai tells Supreme Kai to bring him a large pair of pliers. He then says that getting Goku's tail to grow out was the purpose for all the coffee training, and now he's going to use pliers to pull Goku's tail out of his body, because that's how tails work apparently. Back to the fight, Oob and Baby Vegeta fight, and it's about as good of a fight as you can expect for Dragon Ball. Oob manages to dodge all of Baby's mini blasts that he keeps spamming, and manages to counterattack with a blast of his own as Baby opens himself up, sending Baby flying and crashing into a wall. Gohan, Trunks, and Goten see Baby in danger and try to help him. However, Baby doesn't really appreciate the gesture and blasts all three of them for no reason other than because he can. Oob then gets facepalm and thrown on the ground, but is still able to dodge and counterattack before they have a dick measuring contest, beam struggle, where Baby wins and Oob goes barreling down into the ground. Yeah, you should have just stayed in your village. Wait, is that racist? Pan starts attacking Baby, but it's obviously just as pointless as Oob showing up, and Hercule is forced to ask Boo to save her. He does by doing a whole full yard catch or whatever you call it in baseball, and then escorts Pan and Hercule safely out of distance while Baby prepares to shoot a revenge death ball at Oob. He does, but before he can, Oob absorbs it like Kirby and blows up with it inside him. Baby celebrates because he thinks Boo is dead and sacrificed himself to save Oob, but he obviously doesn't know how Boo operates. Oob is barely clinging on to life and Boo is still spread into dozens of pieces when suddenly Boo starts calling out to Oob in dream form, and Oob realizes that this isn't the first time that he's seen Boo. And you know what that means? Yup, it's flashback time! So Boo suddenly gets the voice of the Grand Supreme Kai and explains that Boo and Oob were once all the same body, and explains how Oob is a part of him and that they will now become one again. So Boo and Oob fuse together and become Boob. Or, my bad, it's just Oob with a clothing change. Boob then confronts Baby and says he won't die until he defeats him, but Baby just laughs in amusement. Will Boob hold true to his statement and not sound like a complete idiot? Will Goku get his tail yanked out from inside of his asshole? Find out next time when I finally upload the third part to this series. And just for a moment, I want to apologize for taking so long to upload this video. I kind of just disappeared off the face of the earth after uploading part 1, and it's because I was trying to make a 1,000 subscriber special, but ran into some copyright issues, and I also had a lot of troubles in real life that I had to work out, some self-love issues and other issues as well, with family and stuff. I don't really want to get into it. With school also, just a lot of stuff, you know, work as well. It was everything, you know. I was just I'm really sorry, you know. And also, it was hard for me to believe that I actually got 1,000 of you guys subscribe. I know I'm not the most consistent person on this channel. I want to say I try to be, but it's really hard, you know, especially with my schedule so packed, and the fact that I still haven't made any money yet, you know. But we got to 1,000 subs. I really can't thank you guys enough. Like it really feels like a dream. Like, as much as I want to stop sometimes, I just remember I have 1,000 subs, you know. Like, that's like, it was one of my dreams as a kid. When I first started a channel, it's your dream, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure you guys would feel the same way if you started your own channels, which I definitely encourage you to do if you really want to. As long as you feel passionate about something, I recommend you do it, because you have a passion that no one else has, and don't let anyone else says like stop you from doing what you want to do. You have something that you have a perspective that no one else does. As much as you want to say that people are there's always someone better than you, or that someone can do what you want to do better, it's not true, because you're you, and as long as you believe in yourself, I believe you can do anything you want. I'm just like you guys. Like, there's nothing special about me. Like, I literally just work on my laptop and go to the public library and record, you know what I'm saying, the voice lines as I write down all these stuff, you know, and all the editing is just, you know, my what I think I want to see on screen while I'm talking, you know. But anyway, in case you're looking forward to more videos on this channel, I'm going to start and try posting quicker and shorter videos in between the long ones, and try experimenting a bit more, so be posted for that. Anyway, love y'all. Thank you guys so much for 1,000 subs, and I'm just grateful you guys are even still watching. Like, seriously, if you even made it to this point, you hear me saying these words right now, you're a legend, and I really appreciate you. You know, leave a comment, and I will heart it. Love you. Bye. After showing off how big his dick is by shouting